Viewer discretion is advised. Moses West, the black inventor who invented a water machine that extracts water from the air, clean water, his machine was destroyed. And I'm not so sure as to why he didn't expect that to happen and didn't prepare for that to happen. When I heard about this black man inventing a machine that will provide free water to the mostly black poor residents of Flint, Michigan, I knew something was going to happen to that machine. If not Mr. West. Because they don't want clean water to be provided to the citizens of Flint, Michigan. If they wanted clean water, they could have been provided clean water, change the filters and clean it up. Simple. But they don't want you to have that type of water. They don't want you to drink clean, nice water. They want you to drink brown, nasty water. They want you to get sick and die. They don't want you in Flint, Michigan. And while they're waiting on you to die, might as well make a few bucks along the way. This free water that they provide isn't so free. Even if it's no more than a tax write-off, they're going to get something for that water. What Mr. West doesn't realize is that he is interfering with the money. When you interfere with the money flow, bro, you got to go. Reminds me of Jesus. See, people don't really understand why Jesus was killed. He was interfering with the money flow. Healing people, performing miracles. Hey, man, how am I going to make some money? How the doctor going to make some money? And you healing folks. How's the psychiatrist going to make some money? And you take out the demons. I can't make no money like that, man. You providing free wine. You got to go, homie. So that's why Jesus got killed, because he was interfering with the money flow, performing miracles. So, Mr. West, if you want your machine to be a success, you need to put your little security around your machine. Why don't you get you some type of warehouse on your own property with your own security and just let the machine produce the water and you just bottle it and send it out or whatever. But I know they're going to find a way to stop that. They're going to say, hey, man, well, look, you're illegal with that, sir. They're going to try to arrest you or something. Shoo you away, make you stop. See, today, they sabotage your machine. Next, they're going to try and find somewhere and say, look, this guy, he's doing something illegal. Some of these parts he probably got illegally. They're going to find some type of, because you know these people make laws as they go along. And by you being a vet, you should understand some of these things about how these people work. And they don't want people providing anything free when they can make money off of it. So if you got these ideas, you bring it to the people first and see if the people accept it and like it. And I'm quite sure the residents in Flint like the machine. Well, they will provide the protection for, hey, man, y'all know these people going to try to destroy my machine. I'm going to need y'all help in protecting this machine. And I'm quite sure you would have gotten that help. So you got to understand the tactics that these people are going to use to get you to stop from making that machine a reality.
They're behind the doors, they're aiming all these machine guns at me, and they're wearing black helmets with visors you can't see. Just black, everything's black. Bulletproof vests, everything. And then that's where my nightmare started. I said, what label? I told the FBI agents I don't need a label. It's under 6.2 pounds. They said, oh, you need a label. I said, what label? I haven't even seen a label. I don't even know about a label. I asked them, what is the right way to pack it? And the FBI agent said, I don't. All they needed to do was knock on my door and say, hey, we think you need this label. And they could have given me a stack of labels or 2 labels or whatever, or they could have told me, get your labels wherever, and I would have been happy to do it. But no, they didn't do that. I got a call from my public defender in Alaska, and he said, oh, we heard that you've been indicted for a garbage permit. And I said, garbage permit? What is that? What garbage? And he said, oh, the EPA, they said that you had garbage working on your invention, and there's a law called RCRA. I said, what's RCRA? Never heard of RCRA. They took everything. There was nothing left. In my trial, they gave me all their bills to destroy everything. It was something like $421,050, something like that. And everything was brand new, and it only cost $100,000 to buy it. And I thought, Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, I can never get past that. Brand new resources, they destroyed. They didn't even do RCRA. I hope in my heart that the EPA acted. I mean, I don't think they're wrong, but I think they didn't. I would hope they didn't understand what they were doing, because RCRA is so complicated. And I don't even think the EPA people understand RCRA.
I'm quite sure everyone knows about Dr. Sebi and what he did and what happened to him in the end. Kind of like this Jesus thing, where he's healing people, teaching you that, hey, the body can heal itself with the proper diet. They don't want you to eat the proper diet. They want you to keep eating McDonald's and Whataburger and steak and ale. They don't want you to eat properly to save yourself, because when you do that, that cuts out the pharmacy and the physicians and a lot of other things that you do that is actually giving you a slow death. You will stop doing all that. But when people like that come along, hey man, you got to go because you're interfering with the money. And Dr. Sebi was interfering with the money. They tried every other tactic to shoo him away, and it wasn't working. So they catch him going abroad. They'll use their agents. That's why I don't trust these other countries that's supposed to be black, because these countries are working for the evil people in this country.
Utah inventor Paul Panjo has developed what he calls the GEAT fuel processor, a plasma generator similar to a supercarburetor that actually appears to run on 80% water and is entirely non-polluting.
This device replaces the carburetor and exhaust and combines them as one unit, whereas this end of it acts as a miniature refinery, allowing the engine to run on everything from battery acid and water mixed to crude oil right out of the ground. This is Angola crude, 39.5 gravity. exhaust coming down goes around and comes out here at the far end. The center chamber draws some of the heat from the exhaust, plus this tube takes some of the exhaust gases, takes them up into the chamber and bubbles them down to the bottom. The bubbles, as it comes through the fuel, are brought up to the top of the chamber, picked up through a tube, and fed up the center of the exhaust pipe. While they're being fed up the exhaust pipe, they are in a vacuum, and there is a heat exchange which occurs. This process has been argued a few times to be either a plasma field, an electro field. We do know that it does have a slight radiation, which is not alpha, beta, or gamma. We do have x-rays to show that whatever is coming from the unit does get affected different from stainless steel than the regular steel. Yep. When the temperature of the exhaust is the same as the air temperature going in from the air portion up here, normally 3% more oxygen coming out of the tailpipe than there is in the air we're breathing. No carbon at all. Carbon vanishes. I wouldn't say vanishes, I would say transmuted into some other substance, a lighter element, because we have an abundance of lighter elements here that are not explained from down here. But during the heat process, there are molecular changes. After running this engine from 1983 until now, and many times we had it running 8.5 hours a day, we have never had to change the spark plug, change the oil, or clean it. We have taken the head off 3 times to inspect the inside of it, and it's been spotless.
Here boils at 40 degrees below zero, therefore anytime, day or night, outside in a rainstorm or in a windstorm or hailstorm or a snowstorm, or just out on a nice hot sunny day or in the middle of a cold night, as long as the refrigerant that's inside this panel is colder than whatever the air is out here or the phenomenon that's hitting this panel, then the heat from the air or the sun or the wind or the rain or the sleet or the snow will be transferred into the refrigerant on the other side, because it's the second law of thermodynamics. Hot goes to cold. So if this is the coldest thing outside, anything out there that touches it is going to give its heat to it. A little bit of heat goes a long way. That gas starts expanding like crazy, and as it expands, it then is drawn into the compressor, not through suction. I've got engineers and inventors that don't like to use the term suction, but through negative pressure. So as the compressor is creating this negative pressure, the gas is migrating to it, and so a compressor is a gas pump. It'll pump gas. And so the gas is being pumped by the compressor into the compressor, elevated in temperature, and even though if you touch this panel, it's ice cold to your hand, and if you touch the line going out of the panel, it's still ice cold to your hand. When it hits that compressor takes all the gas in this space, puts it in that space, elevates the pressure and the temperature. Going out of the compressor, do not touch that line whenever that thing is on, because it's 200 to 250 degrees hot. They proved that they built the steam engine wrong. I had the pleasure of building his unit in my research lab, and we took his great big unit, because why wouldn't I want a great big one? I don't want to put everybody on the grid system with a new system that can exploit them some more with all the arrogance that comes with it. I wanted to give people the opportunity to be totally independent of the grid system. Remember, that was my goal. So we took the big one we had and we scaled it down into a model a little bit smaller than this one. It was a little smaller than this. It was about that long. It's about 13 inches long, 6 inches in diameter. And that one was going to be big enough to be able to power all the energy you needed for your house, and so I didn't want one bigger than that. I went across the United States of America telling my story. I told it in every state of the United States, and I got 1,000 people to join me telling my story. We put a media ad campaign together because the media wouldn't cover it, so we ran commercials. And we did a 60-second commercial cutting a power line and saying you can power your house with no electricity, external electricity, run your car with a new engine that runs with no gasoline. We did a 60-second commercial nationwide. As far as we can tell, about 10 million people saw it. And after that happened, that was too much. That couldn't be tolerated. And so I got a letter from the state of California inviting me to come back to California to go to court. So I flew back from New Jersey to California to go to court. And when I walked into the court, the judge said, "You're probably wondering why you're here." And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "Well, because I've been ordered by the state of California to put you in prison." And I said, "Well, that's really interesting. You're putting me in prison, but I've never been convicted of the crime. How do I go to prison without a trial and without being convicted?" And I said, "You can't do that, can you?" And he said, "Well," he says, "I've been ordered by the state of California to put you in prison, so that's where you're going, but sounds like you got a hell of a case for appeal." That, by the way, is a quote. And I do have the transcript. I walked out of prison 2 years ago, and now we have rebuilt our whole national network of distribution of distributors. We're in every state of the United States. We're in every major county of the United States. We have people now who understand exactly how the government works, exactly how the big boys work, exactly how the energy companies work. And we've got it all figured out. And we've got far, far, far more technology than we ever had in 1987. We've got a lot more money than we ever had in 1987. And we're about to rock.
The mistake of thinking I just had to build a working model and demonstrate it, and the world would come rushing in to congratulate me. The world did indeed come crashing in, rather than rushing, around me instead. The sheriff of Ventura County, California, with plenty of help, confiscated my technology before it could even be demonstrated, and as a result, I was not able to show it to the public beyond the half dozen or so workers that we had in the research facility who had witnessed it prior. We did, after an expert testified in open court that it did not work at my preliminary hearing, we were able to prove that it did work to the judge in that case. Charges were brought against me for fraud, and I was supposed to still be in prison at this day that I'm cutting this because I was amassing something like a 40-year prison term. The charges, all the criminal charges, were dismissed by the judge that we proved in a court of law that the technology did work, and all the criminal charges were dismissed before having any kind of a trial. A private citizen videotaped the raid and refused to stop filming when the sheriff deputies threatened him, as shown on the video, and then they had their own cameraman come in and take his picture. They tried to intimidate him out of videotaping, but he said he was making a documentary, and he's a private citizen, and he didn't work for me. And so they had no choice but to let him continue to film this. And so the video that you're watching was, we have a citizen to thank for that. Then they got their cameraman to come over and take his picture so that they could know who this citizen was.
They drained fuel. They added something to the coolant lines. They played with electronics. That's not typical vandal stuff.
Less than a week after bringing free water to Flint, Moses West says the green machine he designed to do just that was vandalized.
Once they broke into the machine and they destroyed the generator, very technical. They knew what they were doing. It wasn't just, random vandalism. Not at all. They destroyed the battery. They put metal in the fuel system. I saw that when I was cleaning the fuel filter.
West is a military veteran who travels across the country to areas in crisis, bringing a machine he designed like this one that literally makes fresh water out of thin air. He put the green machine out for people along Saginaw Street on Thursday and was hoping to make a big impact. He says before the vandalism, they were giving hundreds of people free water every day.
You gotta look at, I'm making anywhere from 1,200 to 2,000 gallons of water a day. Give it away for free. That's a lot of money out in somebody's pocket someplace.
Wes says that he can only speculate as to why someone would try to destroy something that was just trying to help the community. Wes says he hopes to have the green machine back open and working again soon, with some anti-vandalism features added as well.
It actually sits in the air. I set it on the ground because the ground was a little bit unstable for it to sit on the legs, but now I've got all support for the legs. All 21,000 pounds of it will sit up in the air and make it harder for people to get to do devious things to the machine.
Mr. West says he hopes to have his machine back up and running. Now, Mr. West, you know they've shown you they want you to stop. Put some plans together to stop them. You know that you are a target now. I don't care how you try to put it, how you try to look at it, like you're an American citizen. You know better than that. You're a black man living in America. And you're trying to do something to take money from the pockets of greedy people that are running this place. So you know they're going to try to stop you. Put you some type of plan together for that, to thwart that plan. And you know you're going to need an attorney. And a good one, I might add. But, as I say, I know they create laws as they go along. Oh, you're messing with the Clean Air Act where you're extracting vital, important minerals from the air. They're going to find some type of way to mess with you. But I'm hoping that you will be successful, because we should not let their threats stop us from doing what the Most High leads us to do, and that's to help each other. But we have some house cleaning to do. We have to get rid of some evil people on this planet that are creating this havoc. The people that knew about this water problem in the first place. The people that are still allowing it to happen. I'm willing to bet everyone in Michigan doesn't have that brown, nasty, dirty water. Only certain people. Now, I'm going to go ahead on and put it on record and say it. Black people. It's not going to be in some white neighborhood, I guarantee you that. So we have this black man who God has blessed with a mind. And he's created a machine that extracts water from the air free. And Dejanay, Ozarka, and the rest of these water companies don't want that. Oh no, please don't do that. Because they know the water that we drink is not made for human consumption that comes out of these pipes anyway. You know, when I think about this Flint water crisis, I don't trust black politicians because they knew about it too. And what are they doing? Nothing but getting in the way of somebody who can do something. But their handlers are going to make sure they stay in that spot because they need them to continue to lie to you that everything is going to be okay, that things are going to get better, when we see that they are not. So, this goes to all the inventors, because as you see, they not only will stop black people, but white people as well. They will stop anyone that gets in the way of their bread. So if you're thinking about getting in the way of the man's bread, you better make sure you got your army, player.